I'm Judy Sandrock from Max IQ Space, and in this short video, I'm going to give you a summary of our onboarding session for our Suborbital Launch Challenge. On the agenda, we have what is this challenge, the plan for the next 6 months, including launch events, the Canvas courses, collaboration and support, as well as live workshops. What is this challenge? The challenge is for you to design, build, test, and launch a payload using the Max IQ hardware provided that will show interesting results from a suborbital launch. Finally, you will present your results at a conclusion event, which we still need to arrange. The top 3 presentations will be awarded orbital flights on the first Blue Shift orbital mission. And I have an asterisk here because what I'm saying here in terms of the Max IQ hardware is that we have shipped to you prototype and extension boards for you to develop your own components. It's very important that you use the Max IQ hardware because we need to integrate that hardware into the canister in the payload bay. What is the plan for the next 6 months? What we're doing is we're starting with a pre-launch or terrestrial sensing module, which should take you 2 weeks to complete. This is so that you can get to know the Max IQ ecosystem, and you'll be doing experiments, collecting data, connecting to Internet of Things, using the Canvas learning management system, as well as troubleshooting. You should probably go through 80% of the troubleshooting that you're going to need to go through in this terrestrial sensing module. Then we begin the suborbital program. This should take you around 12 weeks. And you can see on the left-hand side, we refer to a traditional C3PO outline, and of course, named after the famous character from Star Wars. So the C3PO in this case is communication, payload, power, propulsion, and operations. With the suborbital launch, the rocket is going to provide us power as well as propulsion. So for this challenge, we're going to be covering communication and 2 sessions in terms of payload as well as operations. So what we have is with each module, so for example, the communication module, you'll have a science task, an engineering task, and then we'll have a professional speaker who will come in and do a webinar for all of us on how do we actually apply what we've learned in this module in industry as well as career opportunities. And this sequence is repeated again for payload as well as for operations. In terms of the suborbital launch itself, this is scheduled for the end of Q1 or early Q2 in 2023. And if it so happens that Blue Shift Aerospace are not ready to fly us, we do have some alternatives lined up. We have spent the last 2 months working on that, so we have a plan B. Other test opportunities, we have a high altitude balloon mission that is scheduled from Maine. And here we expect to be able to progress over 30 kilometers into the atmosphere. And this is scheduled for mid to late October 2022. As I'm recording this video on the 7th of September 2022, we only have 2 payload spaces left. In this case, we're actually going to be flying the exact canister that we're going to be using on the suborbital launch. So it is an ideal opportunity to test your payloads before we go for suborbital launch. We are planning a CanSat launch on a high-powered rocket, which is going to give us over 2 kilometers in altitude for early 2023. Your Max IQ kits, what you can do is you can 3D print an interface so that you can interface with the CanSat. And we will provide those 3D printing files for you. And we're also chatting to the NASA team at Wallops Island in Virginia, and they are going to be able to offer us high altitude aeroplane as well as high altitude balloon projects. And those dates still need to be confirmed, but they'll probably be towards the end of 2022, early 2023. The Canvas courses most of you have already been invited to the Canvas courses. So what I'm going to do here is just outline the 2 different courses that we're running in parallel. So the one that we have on the left-hand side, this is for educators and their students. So this particular course is suited for supporting educators, teachers, and their student groups. And then on the right-hand side, you can see we have another parallel course covering the same content, but in a different way. And that is for participants and their groups. So that is very well suited to those who have joined, who are participating without an educator or a teacher. We do have a number of young people, aspirant rocket scientists, who've signed up in their individual capacity, and they've co-opted some of their friends to join them on the program. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be having all of our discussions and announcements in Canvas so that we have everything in one place. So you only need to go to one place. And the Discord server will still be operational. And this will allow you to have contact with the technology development team, really actually the geeks we have in the lab. And I really want to point this out, and I hope you're not being rude when I say this, is that we are not going to be teaching any coding. We're going to introduce you to the resources that you can use. We have all of the Arduino libraries for every single one of the components on our GitHub. There are lots of resources online. If you want to learn how to code, we recommend that you take one of those courses. The content we are covering here is specific to suborbital launches, payload development, and this is content you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. So that is why we are focusing on that. We are not going to be teaching coding. Live sessions for us to engage directly. When we began this program early in 2022, we had a number of live workshops and then we recorded those, but we found that we couldn't find a time slot that really suited anybody. So what we'll be doing is we'll be engaging asynchronously through Canvas, and then once a fortnight, we will have some live sessions if you would like to engage directly, if you have questions to ask, etc. So we'll be running them in basically 2 time zones. If we consider the West, so that is Eastern Standard Time, which is UTC minus 4 hours, across the Americas to Pacific Standard Time, which is UTC minus 8 hours. And in this case, Daniel Lee and Coding Harris will be alternating, supporting you in those time zones. And then myself, Judy Sandrock, I will be looking after the central time zones. So that is really actually UK, Europe, as well as the African continent. And I will hold those sessions as well once a fortnight. And so thank you so much for participating in our suborbital launch, and we will certainly keep you updated.